Hey guys, welcome to my channel. As usual, if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Please check out any of my other content, my Mando reviews, Book of Boba Fett reviews, Andor reviews. I have a sequel re-edit remake as well. You can check that out. Really good story. Certainly better than what we were given. And let's get into this. So this will be, I'm going to review the Jedi Survivor video game trailer. I'm actually going to toggle a little bit back and forth between the Survivor trailer and the teaser because I think there's a lot of things that are being revealed here that I haven't really noticed in many other people's trailers, reviews that I've watched and listened to. Anyway, let's get into this. So here we go.
The order is gone.
Okay, so Cal's
I was betrayed
where...
by the one I trusted most.
Is this guy?
I will
Girl. It
not
looks
be
like a girl
imprisoned
actually.
again.
Initially, I don't think it is in the end. Looking at the gameplay, it looks very, very similar to what we got in Fallen Order, which for some people that's a problem. For me, it's not really a problem. I'm more about the story,
busy
you know.
making yourself the Empire's most wanted.
Okay, they got the Jedi Archive things there. That's interesting. Pick up guys and have them shoot their own dudes. The animal stuff again. Okay, cool new planet there. Another what appears to be a new planet.
Remind our friend here why his kind are supposed to be
And
dead.
there's these guys.
Here we go.
After all we've done,
Forest Wampa, and you should be
the
dead.
Empire's only grown stronger. Thanks, Bode.
Part of the job, Gustus.
That's over the top. You need to do flip things, single stormtrooper, but whatever. That was very Lord of the Rings sword jump. It's that guy. That looks like the same guy actually from Ghost in the Tank.
As long as we fight.
No, I don't want the stupid crossbars. I did notice though, and again, okay, we'll get into this. When it comes to those crossbars, so. Okay, so real quick here, I'm not gonna make this video too long. So here you have this guy. So Cal sees this guy in the back to tank with the long hair. I think he's the guy that had the gold vest on or whatever. What I find interesting here, and a lot of people are missing, is if you look in the background here. If you look in the background, what building this is in, okay? So in this shot, Cal has a beard and he appears older. You've got these doors that are opening this thing, this back to tank up, right? It's preserved in there. And then if you look in the background at this background of this building, this looks exactly like, let me find it here for you guys. That looks like the same building as this. This is just more lit up, but if you look, it's beige colored. It's got sort of red and black piping. My guess is that this is the same place, and it's taking place in this time period where he's got the beard, he's older, and you know his friend. I'm sorry, it's the second sister's sister. She looks like she's become full-blown Jedi now, and she's got the robes and the bald head. But this looks like the same place. Same building as this, as far as I'm concerned. This is just not well lit. So in my opinion, she has this guy, this long-haired guy, in captivity or something in her area. Then we go to the next step of this, which is also extremely interesting. When you go to where he gets let out. So here we are again now here. And Cal, like, where is all this stuff here? See all this stuff in the background? What appears to be other back-to tanks are lit up. Where are they in this shot? Where are they? They're not there. Okay, so that's a little weird. And then you go back here to the teaser trailer. We're not going to run the whole trailer. I don't see the point in doing that. But you go to the teaser trailer and let's see here. Sorry guys, let's just take a second. And Cal is, so you got the guy in the back to tank. And Cal has no beard here. And he's looking at this guy. And now it appears that you're in the same room as what I think is the base or wherever that the second sister, I wish I could remember her name, guys, I'm really sorry, but who helped Cal. It was on his adventure in the first game. It appears to be the same place, except it's all mossy and ruined, and I don't see the doors, like the doors that preserve. So something's going on with this. This is really weird, and I'm hoping this is not a time travel situation. I don't like that. I don't want time travel in Star Wars. I don't like the world between worlds. You start adding that type of stuff to storylines, and we've seen it with so many other storylines. They just start to not make sense. Now we're hearing rumors that Indiana Jones is going to be doing this, and I think it's going to just screw up the whole Indiana Jones series now, because you start adding time travel and then things get way too complicated. You end up with Terminator level dumbness. And so, but look at this. So it's all mossy, it's old, and this is a younger Cal, and then an older Cal is seeing him in this building that appears to be in the control of sort of him and his friends. It's got the doors, it's cleaned up. You don't have all the bacta tanks behind, which you also don't have here. But then in the other scene where he's released, you do. So then you start to ask yourself, where is the location of this thing? And then I said to myself, well, maybe it's been moved. Something tells me that this guy in this tank, that he's been moved to this base from somewhere else, some mossy, foresty planet, and he's been transported, and he's pissed off. He says in the trailer, I've been in prison for too long, and blah 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 blah. And then, of course, later in the trailer, you clearly get the idea that he's bad. Because the two guys, this guy, he's interacting with him as if they're buddies, and now we have this thing, so now, we'll be able to do what we want. It's clearly him. He's got the long hair and everything. So something's going on with this guy, and I really hope it's not time travel, but some sort of weird force thing. He's definitely been in prison for a long time. And then here's another note too to look at. If you look at his vest here, his whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what to call it. Shawl, cloak, / whatever. It's gold. It looks very High Republic. I don't know a thing about the High Republic other than they did some stuff to Yoda that I wasn't a huge fan of, and Yoda was limiting people's force abilities, I guess, after the fact or something like that, and it's just kind of weird. But I don't really know much about the High Republic. What this looks like to me is that this guy was a High Republic guy based on his attire. He's got his arm cut off. I feel like he was put in the bacta tank to heal himself, maybe his arm or something, and then maybe he was just forgotten about. Something happened, because remember we see all the overgrown stuff. Maybe he was forgotten about and left there, but then Cal's there as a young guy, seeing him, and then leaves him there for whatever reason. That's my guess. Maybe this is like the intro to the game, which takes place a few years prior, maybe right after Fallen Order. And then in this trailer, again, he's been moved to this building with Cal and the people he's involved with, Jedi people, and he's still in the tank, and then Cal releases him. But the one question I have here is, again, where are all these other bacta tanks? Because when he's released, we see this stuff in the background, and it is a little bit mossy and overgrown. So you kind of wonder, and then his beard is not quite as, this isn't the best shot, but if you watch the trailer, it's not quite as overgrown as it is in this shot here. So then I start to say, maybe Cal's been back here several times. Maybe this is another place, that same mossy place from the teaser trailer, but then this is where he releases him. And he's, you see, he releases him, and he ends up on the ground, and, I'd never be in prison. So this whole thing with this guy, they've left a whole pile of questions, and it's very weird and strange the way that the way that Cal looks and where it takes place, or it appears to take place in the timeline. I would love to hear your guys' comments on this, because I've watched all these reviews. Nobody's really picking up on this and the difference of location and all that other stuff that's going on. This is definitely a different place than where he is, where there's the doors and it's inside of a building with tubes and everything else, which clearly appears to be the other building. So let me know in the comments about that. And then another interesting thing was he doesn't have his buddies with him in the ship. He's by himself. Where is it here? Yeah. the ship crashes. It's all beat up and crappy. So something's gone on there. Where Cal's by himself again. Then but we're back here again, which is again where I believe this Bacta tank is when Cal eventually opens the doors to it. But then again, is he just visiting the guy? And then it's very strange when the guy is released. Then you get this creepo, weird looking thing, whatever. Who knows? It's probably just, honestly, people are making a big deal out of it. It's probably just like her assistant. He's bringing coffees and helping her out with stuff. I don't want to exaggerate what it is. In terms of the architecture, you got the big tall door. Is this sort of a Jedi temple? What is it? It's hard to say. Where did she get the archives? Like to steal archives of that magnitude would be like, that's a massive chunk of, like, that's pretty tough to do. So how did she get her hands on them? This isn't the temple. If it is the Jedi temple on Coruscant, that doesn't make any sense. That would mean that she's sort of in league with the Emperor, or maybe pretending to be, and this is maybe underneath it, so it looks like a basement, and then he's still able to interact with her. I don't know. But why would the archives be moved down there anyway? It doesn't make any sense. When the Empire has access, and in Disney canon, unfortunately, with the Kenobi show, we know that the archives are still up top, and we know that Reva went through them. So this is really weird, and it's weird timeline-wise. This whole trailer doesn't make sense in terms of what we can just make out of it as it stands, it along with the teaser. So there's just a ton of questions here that, and I think about the answers to the questions. What are the answers to the questions? Well, I don't know. I'm thinking of all the scenarios, the time travel thing, this sort of weird, almost like another world where this exists like this. It's very strange. You wonder if part of these are dreams that Cal's having. And let me know what you guys think about that, because between the two trailers, we're left with a very, very strange situation. And then, of course, you get this guy. We get this guy. What's your next move, Cal? So this is likely the Inquisitor or an Inquisitor. Or it's probably the Inquisitor from Kenobi that looks nothing like that. This guy actually looks correct. There's this guy in the teaser as well, which I think is the Inquisitor. People saying that this is that guy that looks like he might be High Republic. I don't agree with that. I think it's this guy. I think it makes more sense. He's wearing the cloak. He's definitely, I think he's the Inquisitor the way he was supposed to be. The video games sort of make him more like he's supposed to be, not like the Kenobi show where he's dressed up in this, porn parody looking outfit and his head's wrong and he doesn't even look like the same species. So that's who I think that is. And then I think this other guy is some sort of former Jedi, High Republic guy. I think in the end, it's very possible that Cal and this guy actually aren't enemies when it's all said and done. I just have that feeling, but I could be wrong. Why he was left alive, again, was he just forgotten about, or was he imprisoned by the Inquisitors and they just left him there? But then, who would have been the Inquisitors back in the High Republic era? It's strange. He could just be a villain. I mean, Snoke wore gold and stuff, but I'm telling you, this does look very High Republic Jedi-ish to me. This thing here, I don't know. They're making a big deal out of it. I don't know. It sounds like the guy with the purple head says the Jedi is a threat, and then he says, "Not now that we have this." Well, what is that? What's that going to do? That's another big question mark they left. Is it a locator? Is it just, are we making a big deal out of it? Is all that is just a locator? They planted something on Cal or planted something in Cal's droid, and now they just know where to find him or something. My guess is this scene takes place after you fight the other guy that's buddies with this big guy, because he says the Jedi is a threat. Like, maybe he killed him, so now he's like kind of worried about it, and he's saying, "No, don't worry about it. We got this doodad." Maybe this is a location of this place, and maybe this guy's prepared to be a merc or work for the enemy. But I don't think he's the guy in red and the cloak at the end. I'm firm that that's the Inquisitor. But you guys let me know what you think. So all in all, the gameplay looks very, very similar. I do want to deal with this last thing here, because this is kind of disappointing. So this whole crossbar. Somebody commented, I think it was yesterday on my Twitter. Too bad I can't give you credit. I don't remember who it was, but they said, you wouldn't be able to turn your wrists. And I agree. I think the whole crossbar thing was actually quite stupid, and it was basically just for looks. It doesn't contribute anything to the ability of the user or anything like that. It's just strictly for looks. Let's not kid ourselves. That's what it is. Now, you do notice with this one, they do have little guards underneath. That at least makes more sense. Because if you did turn your wrist onto it, yeah, and I know Kylo's flipping it all over the place, but that's not realistic. In fact, if anything, that would make him an incredible lightsaber wielder, which makes Rey kicking his ass even stupider. The fact that he can flick it around and spin it and everything without harming himself. But it looks like there's guards there. With that being the case, I don't mind it as much. I still think it's cheese. What I do think is cool about it is it appears that it's like they treat it like this really big, heavy weapon. Like, look at that. Oof, like that thing is long, heavy. I do like that. But I will say, the game should not force you to use that if you don't want to. You know, that's one thing about this game I hope happens, is that there's more advantages and disadvantages to different types of sabers, and that impacts the game. So if you don't want to use the cross bar thing, you think it's cheese, and you just want to use a double bladed or whatever, you can still get through that part with that. Maybe it changes the dynamic, maybe it makes it easier in some ways and more difficult in some ways, but either way, that needs to happen. You need to be able to choose, because there's going to be a lot of fans that, they don't want the reminder of Kylo's stupid saber, and they just don't want to use that. So I don't think there's anything else other than, the gameplay looks very similar. One review I saw said something about they don't want it to be so pattern oriented, like so you can't go into a fight and fight the way you want. You have to adjust your fighting style for the pattern of the enemy, and you'd like to see some changes that way. Elden Ring and stuff does stuff like that, and so I agree with that. I think they need to give you more options and don't just make it a pattern style. We've kind of moved beyond that. Having said that, I still really enjoyed Fallen Order. As a script guy, I'm more interested in the story than the game. To be honest, I'm not a huge gamer. I game, to an extent with my boys and stuff, but I'm not a huge gamer. So for me, as long as the gameplay is reasonable enough and the story's good, then that's really what I'm worried about. Other planets, looks like a lot of dinge and cringe like usual here. Other than this, looks like this is probably Kashyyyk. Whoever this guy is, I don't know. It's looking like you can't use a blaster if you're Cal, which to me is a flaw in the game. They needed to have a scenario where you can use a blaster. It shouldn't always be the lightsaber just constantly. And I would rather have a blaster option than just constantly throwing your lightsaber all over the place. I'm not a huge fan of that. We got this Triceratops looking thing with a goofy face, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, anyway, so that's it, guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section. We don't really know where most of these things are, where they're taking place. It's too dingy. It doesn't really give you any indication of where we are planet-wise in really any of these situations. This could very well be that same building that I said earlier appears to have the Bacta tank with the doors and the protection, as well as sort of the Jedi archives and stuff. It looks like it could very well be that building. Similar sort of look as the doors on the Bacta tank. So I think there's something going on with that character. I wish I could remember her name. There's something going on with her. Anyway, this is a very mysterious trailer. Story-wise, it leaves a lot of question marks. It's one of those things where when you watch the Fallen Order trailer, you knowing it's post Order 66, you were like, wow, you kind of get the jive. He's and they added some cool little story details, on top of that. But the ultimate goal was him trying to find the holocron so they could get these Force-sensitive kids to protected. And the Empire's after him because they know he has it, or they're after it. And it was pretty self-explanatory. Whereas this is just a whole other ball game. I just have absolutely no idea. Just absolutely no idea. So that's my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.